Hello everyone, Skippy here, and welcome to One Piece episode 1060. Directed by Tasuku Shimaya from Wataru Matsumi and Tatsuya Nagamine's board, and supervised by Masahiro Shimanuki and Midori Matsuda. While the preview is being a bit coy, not showing much of it, the flashback to Zoro's childhood and the secret mentor we never knew about till now is certainly promising from the get-go, with talent like Wataru and co-series director Nagamine heading up the storyboard side of things. And while Shimaya's own episodes as of late have ranged from bizarre to okay at best, he's always very good at executing others' boards, so there's nothing to really worry about there. I'm surely looking forward to seeing if they manage to add more meat to the bones of the flashback due to giving it its own episode, so let's just get things started. This episode covers the remainder of chapter 1033, and while there isn't too much in the way of expanding on the flashback itself, the episode doesn't feel shallow or slow because of covering so little, as it connects Zoro's past with Kozaburo into the following promise with Kuina in an insanely well done execution of the content, making it all fit in as one cohesive storyline regarding Zoro's past, even if it is just a flashback to make up for content gaps when you boil it down to the basics. But it flows super well into Zoro's last words to King in the episode about how he'll keep his word to his best friend and his captain, as the manga chapter only showed Luffy at the end of everything, so some readers were confused if he was referring to Luffy as both his best friend and captain, or just the obvious one. Outside of that all, there's also some Momonosuke filler that I couldn't care less about at this point, but there's also a cool little scene with Drake and Apu versus CP0 that does help make that fight feel less worthless than it did initially. Couple that with insanely well done atmospheric direction when it comes to Shimaya's execution of the storyboards, and you get a really damn well done extension of the original content without possibly stepping on Oda's toes by adding things that don't connect to his original version. Now we get to the real heart of the episode, as obviously while the adaptation was solid for what they were likely allowed to do with it, both sides of the board from Nagamine and Wataru go so insanely hard in depicting it that I was so relieved after worrying that the preview may have been all there was. Nagamine's A part is just packed full of the creatively punching and atmospheric staging that we're used to seeing from him, finally unleashed to its full potential after having to rein it in because of his former role, with as many Umakoshi eyes and just general eye shots as you can imagine, and Wataru's B part being of a similar mission statement but with more of his own brand of color and compositing that Shimaya thankfully pays attention to greatly, as it helps bathe scenes in such moody colors that are more than appropriate for any given moment. There's just ideas galore, wonderfully done transitions, and just general shot compositions, and even a really meaty and awesome action sequence bordered by Nagamine included too, and like stated before, lets loose the director's full potential to create what might just be the strongest Zoro vs. King action scene that'll certainly be outdone within the next few weeks, I'm sure, but still. Sure, there's a section at the start of Wataru's half that I'm not really fond of because it looks a little more jank for Drake and Apu versus CP0, but that's only a small blemish on an absolute kick-ass board that wraps up surprisingly enough with the character designer of the past few One Piece films, Masayuki Sato, taking on the reins of the Luffy and Zoro flashback that leads into his proclamation before the to be continued card, giving us some super polished art that exudes both characters' personalities so very well and just makes me smile because I love this episode, dude. Everything really came together in all the right ways to deliver a surprisingly super strong episode for a moment everyone already loved, and it exceeded whatever expectations I had to start with. It's an episode that just makes me so very happy to have the staff on the series and then some, and I truly can't thank them all enough. Which is something I'll only be repeating next week with episode 1061, coming our way from Ryota Nakamura after nearly a year of radio silence. Nakamura's 1026 came down to the wire because of his own speed mainly, so he's been given a lot of time to wrap up the end of Sanji's fight with Queen. And with a preview that is absolutely chock full of his insanely kinetic action, I can only imagine what the final product has in store for us come next week, especially when even his favorite Naoto Shida is participating. Anyways guys, that's it for now. I'm Skippy, and this is definitely top 5 funniest frames in the entire series.